Hello everyone, and welcome to the first lecture of Haematology. And as Ibn Atta'illah Secondary said, whoever has a shining beginning will have a shining end. So let's try our best to make a shining beginning and let's get started. Today we're gonna talk about hematology definition and its blood components, also the definition and the site of haematopoiesis, and finally we will talk about bone marrow, its anatomical and histological classification, and we will see the hematopoietic cells inside it and the stroma. So what's the meaning of the word hematology? Heme means blood, whether written with the letter A or not, and logy means science. So hematology is the study of the blood and its disorders. And these disorders range from some of the most common disorders affecting humans, which is anemias, to a relatively rare conditions such as leukemias and congenital coagulation disorders. And as it goes without saying that these disorders will represent the hematological system, these disorders can help in the diagnosis and also the prognosis of the other body systems. So if we ask ourselves what our blood consists of, and to gain an answer for this question, we have to draw a sample from our veins and put this sample in the centrifugation machine, as this machine spin around and help to separate fluids of different densities or liquids from solids. So we will see that our sample is separated to three parts: a yellow part in the bottom, and below it is a tiny brown part, and lastly the red part. The yellow parts represent 55% of our blood, and it is the plasma, and the small tiny part in the middle is the white blood cell and platelet, and represent 1% of our blood. Lastly, the red part, which is the RBCs, and it represents 45%. So till now we know that our blood consists of cells and plasma. Also, some authorities say that hematology cover not only the blood but also the lymphoreticular system, which consists of lymph nodes with the spleen and liver. Also the hemostatic system, which consists of coagulation factors and platelets. So the question that must jump to our mind is, what is the plasma? Plasma in the physics is the medium that contain unequal positive and negative particles. So the overall charge of the plasma is roughly 0. This is the same with the blood plasma. And the particles are mostly water, which represent up to 95% of the plasma, dissolved proteins, which are albumins, globulins, fibrinogens, also electrolytes, waste, gases, nutrients, hormones, and lastly vitamins. So we have finished the first part of this video, which is to know what's inside our blood, and let's jump now to the second part, which would talk about haematopoiesis. As we said, hemato means blood, but poiesis means formation. So haematopoiesis is the process of formation of our blood cells, and not only maintaining normal numbers of circulating cells, but also to be able to respond rapidly when demands increase, such when we get bleeding or infection. So where haematopoiesis occur inside our body? During development, this process occurs in yolk sac, liver, and spleen, and also it occurs in red bone marrow in the medullary cavity of all bones. And as we grow in the childhood, our red marrow become a yellow marrow when the fat replaces the red marrow medullary cavity, so that in adults, normal haematopoiesis is restricted to the vertebrae, pelvis, sternum, ribs, clavicles, skull, upper humeri, and proximal femora. And as we said, to has an effective haematopoiesis, this red marrow can expand in response to increased demands. So let's get a quick look inside our bone marrow to see how haematopoiesis occurs. If we take one of our lovely femori, we will see that our femori can be divided anatomically into three parts. Epiphysis, which is present in the upper and lower part of the long bones, and diaphysis, which is present in the middle, and the part that join epiphysis and diaphysis, which is called metaphysis, which is the part where we grow from. So that was the anatomical classification of the long bones. On the other hand, our bone can be classified into a compact bone or spongy bone, which is the histological classification. The long bone usually has the spongy part in the epiphysis and the compact part in the diaphysis. In our case, the red marrow where the haematopoiesis occur is present in the proximal part of this femoral bone, and the rest of this long bone is replaced by the yellow marrow during adulthood. So, let's take this red marrow and go inside it to see how haematopoiesis occurs. So our red bone marrow contains a range of immature hematopoietic cells which act as a precursor cells and mature cells which act as a storage pole when demands increase. These cells interact closely with the surrounding connective tissue stroma made up of reticular cells, macrophages, fat cells, blood sinusoids, and nerve fibers. So we have talked about the stroma. Let's now talk about the hematopoietic cells. First, we have the red cell precursors, which are the mother of the RBCs. These cells usually cluster around a central macrophage, which provides iron to these cells and also phagocytose their nuclei. So this cell become corpuscle and not a cell when they secrete it to the blood. Also, we have megakaryocytes, which are large cells that produce and release platelets into the vascular sinuses, and the white cell precursors, which are clustered next to the bone trapecally and give the maturating WBCs. Also, bone marrow contains plasma cells, which are antibodies secreting mature B cells that normally represent less than 5% of the bone marrow population. So the immature cells give mature cells. Some of them stay in the bone marrow and some of them go to the blood and unfortunately leaving the bone marrow. As Alan Walker said, goodbye so long, I don't know if this is right or wrong. So we have finished our lecture and let's go to the question of this lecture. How many blood cells that approximately a healthy adult person needs to produce daily in order to maintain steady state levels in the peripheral circulation?
Thanks for watching. I will be more than grateful if you press the like, subscribe button and share this video with your colleagues. If you have any suggestions to improve my channel, leave a comment and let me know please. See the description below for the newest updates and for more infos. Also, don't forget to follow us in other social media sites. Keep your narcotic dose and good luck.